everyone. Well, welcome back to more fun farming action. The field is this field here is slowly drying up, although I'm kind of having to bounce around and mainly knife the high ground. I'm back out putting 28 down. Besides one other field that I have to knife a few end rows on, this is our last field. But last time we were in here, well, actually we got the field opened up and we got started right over there on the north side. That evening is when we got that 5 to 6 inches of rain, and so we got stopped. And this field is still wet in areas, and so I'm basically knifing the high ground, and then maybe this Saturday Dad might be able to get back in here and do some more of it while I'm spraying. And so yesterday I actually started spraying corn, and I was actually doing our early corn that we got planted about a week ahead of everything else, because we got rained out back in the spring, and there's about a 1 week break between our early corn and the later corn. And so this corn here is actually a good bit shorter. The early corn, oh, it's getting real tall. I'd say close to 3 feet, not quite at it, but almost. And I got gawking around there. I got turned down the wrong row. There we go. But sure enough, I was actually on the last field of early corn this morning before noon, and when I get that field done, I'm going to switch over and start spraying beans. We run Enlist beans, but sure enough, I had just put some more chemical into the sprayer. I did not even have a full batch, only about 1/4 full, because I just had about 8, maybe 10 acres at the most to finish up on that field. Anyway, I had just left the farm heading back over there. I felt something break, and I heard it too. And come to find out, well, on that sprayer, it's a case sprayer, and on each wheel, the way it's set up, it's got a great big coil spring that it rides on. And just like on a vehicle, or let's see here, on some trucks that have coil springs in the front, and or on a lot of cars and SUVs, where they have the coil spring and then they have a shock that goes up right through the middle of the coil spring. Sure enough, it would be on the right front wheel, that coil spring, the big shock broke. And just like any other shock, at the top it's got a bolt that goes through the frame, and then you bolt on with a double jam nut. And sure enough, that right there at the top, it broke. And so Dad had to make a flying trip down to well, take that back. I called the case place up just north of us to see if they had a spring. They didn't. And if you've ever heard of and or seen in Tractor House magazines, Bain Welker Equipment, they're the ones that I dealt with. And sure enough, they got looking up, and one of their other stores down by Lebanon, Indiana, which is northwest of Indianapolis on I-65. They had a spring just like what I needed, and so Dad made a flying trip to Lebanon, and he's actually on his way back home right now. And so when he gets back here, I'll hold up on the knifing. I'll get the big shock pop back in the sprayer. I've actually already got the old one all loosened up, just ready to come out. Thankfully, it's easy to replace. And so I can go ahead and get that last field of corn, get done spraying that, get switched over, and start running Enlist on the soybeans. I am kind of curious how many of you guys out there that farm, how many of you have a very common weed that's gotten in this area called water hemp? Another cousin to it is pigweed, and or also Palmer amaranth. And so, yeah, we got the good old water hemp in this area pretty bad. So I am kind of curious if any of you deal with water hemp, let me know. I can tell you one thing though, because we ran Liberty for years, Liberty beans, and the Liberty does a good job of killing the water hemp. However, the one problem that I did not like about Liberty is that it's a contact kill, and so you take and you hit the leaf on the plant, it kills it, but then it will come right back up from the root. And so, let's see here. I think it might have been in 2018 when Liberty beans came out. We started growing them. And it works great. Liberty is basically 2,4-D. And also, just a little side note, a lot of guys don't do it because it's not on the label. I don't know why, but on the Enlist label for spring Enlist, it says to run for your coverage, for your gallons per acre. I run 2 pints per acre of Enlist. And on the label, it calls for 10 to 15 gallons of water for coverage, 10 to 15 gallons per acre. At, like I say, I run 2 pints per acre of actual chemical. First year we started running Enlist beans, I did about half the beans at 15 gallons per acre. I did not like the job that did. And so I jacked that up and I run 20 gallons per acre, still running 2 pints per acre of chemical. And let me tell you something, that did a much better job because you just get a lot more coverage. And you definitely want to use an air induction spray nozzle. That's what we run. T-Jet AI spray nozzles. We run the big gray ones, and so it puts out a pretty big fan. But the air induction basically creates like a raindrop effect. And like I say, it does a really good job. And for those of you running Enlist, if you're not doing it, I would highly suggest going to 20 gallons per acre on your coverage and maintaining 2 pints per acre of actual chemical. It'll do a much better job. Well, hey, tell you what, sure enough, I just looked across the field here where I'm running at, to the northeast of me, I can actually see my mom and dad's house, and I see my dad just got back home with my sprayer part. So this is going to be a good spot to call an end to this video of knifing 28, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.